Thanks, appreciate that.
I guess 9 days you describe the process and how quickly it was, and how it all sort of came about.
Yeah, the process is, as we talked about before, any athletic director has a list of names that they're perpetually following, and every year you add to the list or you delete based on performance and other variables. Heading into the process then, what you're trying to do is match what the programmatic needs are to the profiles of the coaches that are on your list. And that's exactly what we did these last 9 days. There are a lot of great coaches out there. Not every great coach is a great fit for Boston College at this point in time. And I really believe that Steve Addazio is a great coach who's a great fit for Boston College right now.
So he was on your list for Miami, or did you add him to your list when you got here?
Oh, I've had him on my list for a number of years, yes.
Is there anything about, has a reputation as like high energy and vitamin Addazio and so on and so forth? Just talk about sort of what that may infuse into the program.
Yeah, Julian, a really good question. You know, the variables that really came out, particularly when I talked to the team a week and a half ago, that this program needed. First of all, they wanted a coach that they would have a strong relationship with. And everything in Steve's background demonstrates that he's going to create a family culture in that program. That's a team. Secondly, they wanted someone who was very, very passionate, and as you alluded to, Steve Addazio, and you'll meet him tomorrow, you'll see he has incredible passion and energy. And then the third thing is they wanted to win. They wanted someone with a proven record of having success. And here's a guy who started at the high school ranks, had incredible success in high school all the way up to national championships at Florida. And so he certainly has a background in competitive success and winning.
You were saying you did reach out to people to take their opinions. Who did you talk to that knew Steve pretty well that you kind of took their opinion?
Yeah, I don't know that I'll name names, but I've been in this business long enough. I know a lot of people. Well, let me just say it this way. As part of the process, we were very meticulous. We talked to NFL owners, NFL coaches, commissioners, college head coaches and assistant coaches, executive directors. We talked to a lot of people. We want to know if any candidate that we would bring to Boston College is going to treat people consistently, whether it's the president of the university or it's someone that they're just going to bump into on campus. We want to know their track record in terms of how they develop leadership skills within their program, how they develop a team, how they engage the alumni base and create networks for their future players so that they have career opportunities. And so all of that encompassed the conversations that we've had in the last week and a half.
You talking to the team at 5, right?
I'm sorry?
You talking to the team at 5?
Yeah, yeah.
How'd that go? And it was more like to let them know before we knew, or anybody else knew really.
Yeah, you know, one of the things that we try and do, and it's very difficult, as all of you know, in this day and age, is to be able to look the team in the eye and be the first person to tell them what's happening. And that was what we were trying to do all along. We wanted the students to hear it from us. And again, it's not always possible, but we try and do everything we can to make sure that they hear the message from us first.
At the end of the season, some of the players were talking about kind of a lack of accountability on the team. Do you see Addazio as someone who can come in and kind of change that attitude here?
Well, I think Steve Addazio will be very much, he's got a plan. He'll be a disciplinarian. He will be incredibly demanding on and off the field. But at the end of the day, the students are going to know he genuinely and sincerely cares about them.
When you make this hire, do you look at it and say, this is someone I want to build a long-term program with? Or, you know what I mean? Like, how do you view sort of the I don't want to put an expiration thing on it necessarily, but how do you view, like, the time frame? And it's a different world with coaches and let it go and carousels and things like that.
Yeah, you can never predict the future. But at the same time, you absolutely look at a coach who can build a foundation for long-term success. And the other part of this is, I've only been here 6 weeks. I'm looking for a partner who I can be joined at the hip with and really strive for excellence in Boston College athletics. And he's a key leader in this department.
You talked about the different areas that you considered and talked to the players and everything. Was there one thing or two things he said when you sat down with him that sold him and said, this is why I want him?
Well, in the 3 areas that I talked about, the winning, obviously looking at his background, but even deeper than that, how he recruits, how he teaches, how he conducts practice, how he's gonna hire a coaching staff, the skill sets that are complementing one another within that coaching staff, all those answers to the questions. I mean, he knew us incredibly well. He had done his homework, he had studied us. It was obvious he really was incredibly interested in this job. As you'll see tomorrow when you meet with him, he is one of the most energized, passionate people I've ever been around. His enthusiasm is contagious. Just sitting around him tomorrow, you're going to feel more inspired. And so imagine that playing out in a coaching methodology. And so those were really, and then the third aspect in his answers and what his history is, he is a proven track record of developing meaningful relationships with his students, starting in the recruiting process, but then within the program, and developing leadership qualities so that they come together as a team.
Was his enthusiasm something you thought you could picture, like when he was in the room with the recruit, out on the recruiting trail? Was that something you kind of pictured, very easy transition for him?
Yeah, really good question. Absolutely, and I think you'll see that tomorrow. When you're visiting with him, you'll see an energy that you can absolutely project in a lot of different contexts that will represent Boston College extremely well.
There was some overlap in the coaching staffs at Temple and BC, and I was wondering if you actually had a chance to talk to them because they had some time here.
Yeah, that's a really good question. Probably won't confirm any direct conversations one way or another. What I try and do is have the deeper conversations with people I absolutely trust. It's too critical a hire to hear it from people who I don't necessarily know. And so any direct conversations that I had about candidates really involved predominantly people I know and trust and have known for a while. But also secondly, and all of you know this, we have an amazing alumni network who cover a breadth of responsibilities and experiences in the sport of football. And so they have been just tremendous in terms of helping carve out what the programmatic needs were within the program.
And also, I guess, and I'm not sure if you have been here before, but did it come up? Had he been a candidate for this job prior, or a name that had been rumored to?
Yeah, you'll have to ask him that question. I think I know the answer to that because I've had some conversations with some other people, but ask him that question. He'll be able to give you a straightforward response on it. That's good.
What were your impressions of just his football intellect, as opposed to the passion and?
Yeah, well, if I hire any coach in our department where I can even remotely have scheme conversations with him, we've hired the wrong person, right? So putting him on the board and talking fundamental techniques and all of that, that's where I have to rely on people who are in the profession that know scheme, know vocabulary, know how to assemble a strategy and a game plan. So all of that, he wouldn't have even been on my list if I hadn't verified that ahead of time.
Have you discussed with him what assistant coaches of his staff will be coming here with him yet?
You know, really good question. We've kind of talked in general terms. He clearly has some ideas of what he wants to do, but he's going to research the context. He's going to visit with the team. He's going to visit with the staff. This is a well-connected guy in the football community. He's going to have an amazing collection of coaches that he can assemble. And so the key is going to be making sure that he gets a group that has diverse skill sets and experiences so they complement one another.
When does he meet the team?
He's going to meet him tomorrow afternoon.
Are you able to comment on whatever length or terms, not terms, just length of whatever agreement you guys may reach?
Yeah, let me ask Chris. I think because we're a private school, we historically hide ourselves behind the cloak of private schools, right?
We give a number of years, then we hide.
So the length of his contract is 6 years.
How many candidates met with Father Leahy?
Yeah, I don't want to go into the details of that because one of my responsibilities to anyone that's involved in the process is complete confidentiality. I mean, we talk to people who cannot afford to compromise their current situation. And so I'm never going to tell people who was involved in the process. It's just not in my DNA. That's my commitment to those candidates.
We talked about some coaches trying to maybe use BC as a stepping stone in their coaching career. Do you see Addazio as someone who is here, you think, for the long term and really wants to invest in BC?
This is a guy who grew up in the Northeast and has dreamed of being at Boston College, and you'll see that tomorrow. So the quick answer to your question is, he is thrilled to be here and can't wait to, he's already hitting the ground running. I mean, we bounced over a lot of things today in terms of what needs to be prepared and what he's already getting into. The second part of your answer is, who can predict the future? You know, is any place a destination anymore? The landscape of college athletics is evolving so quickly, and there's so many different variables that are involved in how people choose jobs and their longevity. I can't predict the future completely, but back to the original answer, here's a guy who is incredibly enthusiastic to be at Boston College.
Was it important to you that it was a guy who wasn't gonna, at least, you know, kind of almost immediately start looking for a better job?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, continuity, I think, is an incredible cohesive force in building team. And so having attrition is disruptive, and this team's had a lot of disruption in terms of that continuity.
What's that?
Pretty much.
Go
Is
cover
that good?
basketball.